Good Saturday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We got another Watchmen update here, a bunch of news and reports coming in from the Watchmen that you need to be aware of. We got, let's see here, another peace deal brokered by President Trump that could save millions of lives that nobody yet is talking about. We're going to talk about it here. Hopefully you guys aren't tired of winning just yet. We got even more substation fires knocking out power across the United States. Reports coming from Watchmen about that. We got a warning on coffee, and we got a report on Walmart scamming shoppers. We'll talk about what they're doing and more reports on that. And a heartwarming story, it's a Saturday after all, of one of the Watchmen making a difference in their community. This and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates that you guys are sending in from all over. If you have something to share, make sure you use the word update somewhere in your comment. That gets it to the right place. Now, we do want to thank our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. They've been supporting this channel for over 3 years now. They believe in what we're doing here. They don't give me scripts to say about them or about the products. I believe that gold, silver, and platinum is probably your best bet financially to get through the coming storm, the fiscal storm of de-dollarization, economic collapse. Precious metals are probably only going to go up in value. That's my personal opinion on the matter. If you think that that's probably a good move to make and you have a retirement account, Jonathan and his team can talk to you about what it would look like to move your retirement over to precious metals. There'll be a link at the end of the video for you to find out more, or you can check them out in the pinned comment down below. All right, China has confirmed the trade framework for the trade deal with the United States. It will lift export controls. This could be pretty good. And with that, the S&P 500 decided to respond favorably yesterday to that. Now, there was a slight little hiccup out there. President Trump terminated all trade discussions with Canada. So the China trade deal is moving forward, but the Canadian deal, well, they got a communist government up there, so it kind of makes sense. On June 27th, on Truth Social, Trump said that the termination was made because Canada's plan to impose a digital service tax, which would affect U.S. tech companies, basically a 3% levy on all digital services earned across Canada by foreign companies. It's supposed to take effect on Monday. The president called this tax a direct and blatant attack on the United States. Yep. Mainly going to hit businesses like Airbnb, Amazon, Google, any digital services like Netflix, all that kind of stuff. Well, Canada, our number 2 trading partner, $435 billion a year of goods coming to the United States from Canada, and we're about to slap them with 35% tariffs, which could go into effect any day now. We may wait until, I believe it's July 9th. That will have been the 90-day window that President Trump originally gave. Or he could just slap it on them early. So we'll see what happens, but I don't think the market is prepared for that or will like that at all. All right, let's talk about this more winning. On Friday, President Trump signed a peace deal between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, most of you are probably a little challenged finding them on the map, or at least one of those on the map, and you probably didn't wake up this morning thinking about either one of those countries, and you probably didn't know that they were at war with each other. Well, in fact, Rwanda decided to send its ground forces into the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and were taking cities and stuff. So I know you probably didn't hear about this because there was no oil involved and there were no white people there. But anyway, so there was this war happening there, and they're fighting this kind of thing, and President Trump helped negotiate a ceasefire and then helped negotiate a peace deal between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Now, the battles there were not so big. These are not heavily armed nations, and mostly just guys running around with AK-47s. So when I said millions of people could save millions of people's lives, what did I mean by that? Well, when Rwanda went into the DRC, basically all the World Health Organization people, all the CDC people, all the people monitoring the nasty diseases that have been coming out of the DRC recently, one of the best footholds for them to get in there to study and see where these diseases are coming from is Eastern Congo. Well, when Rwanda invaded, going after a whole bunch of these militias and such, made it impossible for them to go in there and actually confirm any of these cases. We have things like Ebola. We got, this is where the monkeypox, we're not allowed to call it that anymore, came from, Mpox. We got some variants of Mpox coming out of the Congo. We got other things coming out of the Congo too. It's like Wuhan. It's like the Wuhan of Africa, okay? Well, they actually come up with some really dangerous stuff coming out of there. So now that there's peace, the World Health Organization and CDC and everyone else can send people back in there to go check for infectious diseases and track them down to source and contain these things. I know you may be surprised to hear that the World Health Organization actually does some of that. There are a few people in the World Health Organization that actually do stuff with health. I know 95% of them are propagandists, but it is what it is. Anyway, Israeli court has rejected Netanyahu's call to postpone the graft trial hearings. So remember how I was saying, Netanyahu kind of is motivated to continue the war in order so that he doesn't get charged with crimes and stuff. Well, these are some of the crimes. And apparently the courts over in Israel have gotten tired of waiting, and so they decided to start charging him. President Trump has already come out there and is trying to save Netanyahu from these trials as well. I'm not a legal expert on these matters. I haven't really looked into them too much. But, is he guilty of something? Possibly. Is this trumped up political charges? Possibly. You can let me know down in the comments down below if you've read up more on that. All right, let's move over to California. Gavin Newsom is doing something profitable. Wait, no. He's suing Fox News for $787 million in a defamation case. Where did he come up with 787? Couldn't round it off to 800 million. Couldn't round it down to 750. $787 million. Be interesting just to hear their valuation on all the emotional damage that he suffered because of that. Anyway, DOGE, the Department of Governmental Efficiency, has entered into the ATF. Oh, thank you. So excited for this. I hope that DOGE spends a little time there and then comes out and says, it's a total loss. We're sorry, it's a total loss. You got to scrap the whole agency. That would be optimal. That would be an optimal situation where they realize that ATF doesn't actually do anything. Anyway, they're going into ATF, and their mandate is to slash common sense gun regulations by July 4th. So they're going to have to get on that real fast. So they're going to slash a whole bunch of gun regulations out there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But moving on, the Trump administration is eliminating the warning period for fining those in the U.S. Without permission. The new rule will eliminate the 30-day warning period before the fines begin. The fines will just start already. Fines will range from $100 to $500 per unpermissed entry to the U.S., up to almost $10,000 for failure to voluntarily deport after a judge orders it. and up to $1,000 per day for those who do not comply with a removal order. So if they can just get them in order, fines start building up. Now, when you don't pay fines, that becomes a whole nother way for them to help you leave. Not just because you're threatened to having to pay those fines at some point, but it gives them grounds to charge you, gives them grounds to arrest you, and they can also seize your property and goods and stuff like that too. So that is just another tool to help encourage people to leave. Student visa applicants to undergo tightened social media vetting. I don't know if I really like this one, but the United States is now imposing a much stricter social media vetting for visa applicants. So basically, if you apply for a visa into the United States, you must make your social media profiles public, like Facebook and stuff, and then they're going to look through them and look who you're connected to, what kind of postings you're posting, and decide whether any of those invalidate your application for visa. So if you say that you're coming for tourism and you have stuff about jobs, if you say that you're not going to engage in any, political activity, and you have lots of political activity on there, it lends to further follow-up questions and more research. Mary says, I was shopping this morning at the Walmart in Pontiac, Illinois. The 25-ounce Great Value Donut Shop coffee, which is the generic brand, right, which cost $9.74 last week, was marked up to $15.54 this morning. That's a 50% increase. Just in a week, just 1 week. Most Great Value coffee types have been also raised by roughly $5 to $6 each. If you can find a good deal on coffee somewhere, I would urge you to stock up. We've been talking about the coffee shortages for a while. I know sometimes when we talk about things for so long, people can not take it seriously. But we're really starting to get the bullwhip end of this right now, where we're seeing coffee prices moving pretty significantly in the last couple weeks. So if you see a good deal, grab it if you need your coffee, right? If you're like some of us, we got lots of coffee all stocked up. Kim says, third power outage this week in south central Pennsylvania. This was from another substation fire. 3 substations in just south central Pennsylvania. And we're seeing patchy outages across the United States, and most of them are substations going out. Hopefully you guys are paying attention. Just a bunch of accidents happening. Don't worry. Cindy says chef stores in Washington State are still struggling to keep products on their shelves. This is due to the hack out there, right? Now, apparently that's starting to get sorted out, and JBS is moving their orders through now with meat into these stores again. So there should be, but they're doing a lot of it manually, and mistakes are being made, it seems like, and they're trying to catch up. So there's still going to be some issues as it goes. Some stores are not part of that network and are going to be okay. Those stores that were using those distribution warehouses are still having problems. So be aware of that. Charles says, rural central Maryland. Availability of frozen foods has been a regular ongoing problem. Some stores have nothing for weeks or only expensive and small flavored frozen veggie varieties. We are unable to consume the flavored stuff, dreadfully full of chemicals and sodium. Canned veggies are thin and regular, low and unavailable in no salt varieties. Fresh veggies are typically well past their prime, some rotting in the bins. Of the 4 stores I use, they all have this issue to varying degrees. It's been horrible. NT says, I'm in central Indiana. I prefer paying with cash for most purchases because I think I spend less doing that. But 3 times in the last 2 weeks, I've had a clerk short me on change. At Aldi, it was $3. At Panera, it was $10, and yesterday it was $1 at a local store. Each time I caught it before I walked away from the register. It makes me wonder if there's been a few times that I've missed it. I have a relative who's had it happen to them enough times at the drive-thru at Wendy's. That person is now paying for most of their things with a debit credit card, even though they would prefer to pay cash. I'm thinking about doing the same. Unfortunately, some of the businesses are now charging more if you pay with a debit credit card. What's a customer to do? Well, I think most places are trying to get you over onto credit cards and debit cards because it costs them money to handle cash. I know everyone always is like, it costs them 3% fee from the credit card company for them to do those charges. And it's like, yes, but do you know how much it costs them to handle cash? And a lot of times it's actually more expensive for the company to handle cash with deposits and everything like that because the banks charge them money to deposit cash and to take out cash and get change. Banks actually charge them money for that. Plus, it takes more time for the workers to actually handle cash than it does for you to just swipe your card. So that's why companies are mostly moving over to electronic. It's not because they're part of the grand conspiracy. It's because it's cheaper for them. And so they want you to move over that direction. And they realize that most American consumers are moving that way anyway. America is one of the most cash, we use a lot of cash for a developed society. That's just what I'm going to say with that. Compared to a lot of the European countries, like we use a lot more cash than they do over there. Other countries that are kind of our GDP level per capita, they use cards a lot more. We're very suspicious folks here in America. Blondie says, and maybe that's a good thing. Blondie says, Northwest Connecticut, talk about a nightmare. During the heat wave, our smoke detectors went off every few minutes. Between the power surges and the condensation on the windows, every time a door opened, they went off as well. We only have 2 window units set at 72 degrees. My poor dog, they are hardwired, the alarms are hardwired with batteries. We have had to disable and get the battery-only ones. Yeah. Axe Chisel says, Northwest Ohio, several Walmarts in the area have begun remodels. The store here is reducing how many products are available, with nearly all aisles being spaced further apart, which means less products, sometimes adding as much as 2 feet, with some of the aisles being removed entirely. Additionally, the Walmarts here have been changed at the front of the store to look more like a convenience store within the last 2 months. The cheese section was also completely empty as of 2 days ago. Thank you, Steve, for all you do and the other Watchmen in our community. Thank you. Linda says, a Dollar General store here in Stanford, Kentucky was closed due to no air conditioning. Yeah, can't rough it. We can't rough it like that. No, we got to have the air conditioning. Gal says, my local market basket here in New England, whose bread aisle is notoriously packed, was pretty empty. Lots of holes filled with the same hoagie rolls, but hot dog buns non-existent. Not sure if it's a one-off, but that's the first time I've seen it like this in 20 years. Fresh produce also lacking. It is time where everyone's getting hot dog buns. So, I mean, you know, everyone's doing their grilling, and with the heat wave out there, I think a lot more people are thinking, well, it's too hot to cook inside, so let's cook out on the grill. I thought that this week, so I didn't do hot dogs, but I'm rotating some of the stuff in my freezer, so getting that beef out there onto the grill. PJ says, the Batteries Plus store in our town, Goldsboro, North Carolina, just closed. We lost our Radio Shack a few years ago. Are niche stores becoming more unprofitable, or is this just a local occurrence? These are a big loss if you like to tinker. Well, specialty stores are going out of business because of Amazon, eBay, these online retailers. It's just so much easier to get really weird parts and everything like that online. So yeah, Amazon's putting all the small part stores out of business. It's true. AW says, I am the fire chief for a very small, very rural fire department in northern Idaho. Recently, we were unable to contact our or communicate with dispatch on our 5-watt handheld radios. We can only hit the repeater with our unit-mounted 40-watt mobile base stations. We had a tech company come out and test everything, and we were within the parameters, but cannot contact dispatch. And their side of the system is reporting good. No one seems to have an answer. Radios can be finicky like that, but if it was working before and it's suddenly not working, something changed. Mayo says, went to renew the parking permit for my block, and the price has historically been $35. It's now been doubled for this year. And it's all digital, except for them sending the sticker to place on your car. It doesn't make any sense, and they cannot claim tariffs for this one. I wonder if anyone else is facing similar issues in their areas. Southeastern Pennsylvania. Nana's Bible says, Southern Arizona. In my last post, I bought sweetened condensed milk at a Dollar Tree. But we got a warning here. When I went to make my recipe, I noticed that the can I bought at the Dollar Tree was sweetened condensed milk, filled milk. Sweetened condensed filled milk. It contains fillers with that the regular sweetened condensed milk does not contain. So that's how they're stretching things. Less milk, more fillers. If you don't mind the fillers, okay, but I do. So I will return the cans and get my refund. This is a warning for us to be more aware of what you're buying. Read the cans closely, friends. The can from the Dollar Tree and a regular can from the regular grocery store are both the same 14 ounces, but one has fillers that the other one doesn't have. Madam K says, I went to Walmart because my friend from Costa Rica needed some things. I got dog treats, toilet paper, a garden rake, glass cleaner. We went to the checkout, and Nancy's items were all at a higher price than what they were on the shelves. Then I checked out, and the dog treats were $4 more than what the shelf said. I mentioned the price was cheaper on the shelf. The cashier said the digital prices change. Okay, I said in 10 minutes, take it off my order then. Every item I had, the price went up. I said, take them all off. I have a budget, and you went over what I have for money for each item. She was not happy. So she just like, if the price is different, you put it back. The older lady behind me said, oh my, this is why my bill is always higher. The cashier said, that's technology for you. We saw the older lady outside, and she only had a pint of milk now after putting the other stuff back. She came running towards us and said that they are crooks in there. Thank you. Nancy and I laughed, but this woman said her husband is not well. They are selling the house to pay for medical bills, and she didn't have anything extra to spend. It wasn't funny anymore. I had $40 to spend, and since I didn't spend it, I passed it on to her. Nancy gave her a $100 bill. The older lady said, I can't take this, but we convinced her to go back in the store and buy a lavish meal for her husband who is dying. I hate the way our elderly are treated, and we're all suffering because of the high prices of food and medicine. It ticked me off. I wish I had more to give her. Help those around you. That's a good word to end on, isn't it? All right, friends, thanks so much for joining with us. If you want to get some more information about what you can do to protect yourself with your retirement accounts, there's a link right there to Genesis Gold, or you can find them down in the pinned comment. If you do reach out to them yourself, make sure you mention this channel so they waive the setup fee. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.